Hi, and welcome to another LRCC Soundbite. Last week I was talking about names and how they can be very significant. When Abraham and Sarah had a baby, they called him Isaac, which means laughter, because they'd laughed when God told them that they would have a baby. This week, more babies. Isaac has grown up now, and he's having his own children. He married a very beautiful woman, her name was Rebecca, but like Abraham and Sarah, they'd not had any children. 20 years after they were married, they eventually figured out, actually, let's pray about this. And Rebecca became pregnant, not just with one baby, but with twins. At one point, during her pregnancy, she felt that they were fighting inside her. And later, when they were born, it turned out that they were both very different. The first to be born was covered in red hair, and they called him Esau. Apparently in Hebrew, Esau sounds like the word for hairy. The second to be born was grabbing onto Esau's heel. They called him Jacob, which, guess what? Sounds like the Hebrew word for heel. As they grew up, they continued to fight, these two brothers, Jacob and Esau. And I guess they were quite a handful for Isaac and Rebecca. Esau liked the outdoors and he became a great hunter. He was Isaac's favourite. Jacob, on the other hand, preferred a quieter life. He was happy looking after some sheep, a bit of a shepherd, being around the house. He was Rebecca's favourite. Now, the name Jacob also sounds like the Hebrew word for deceiver or cheat. And it turned out that Jacob could be a little bit devious. At one point he convinced Esau to sell him his rights as the firstborn son for nothing more than a bowl of stew. Now, of course, these rights were nothing small. The firstborn son inherited everything. He became the head of the household, he got all the servants, the money, the crops, the animals, everything. Nothing was left for anyone else. And as if that wasn't enough, later Jacob would trick his own dad into giving him the special blessing that should have been reserved for Esau as well. A friend of mine once told me that they used to think they couldn't go into a church because they weren't good enough. Actually, when I think about that, I think there's been a lot of people who have made that or similar comments to me. Different times, different places, but basically the same idea. Only good people go to church. Isaac, Rebecca, Jacob, Esau, even Abraham and Sarah before them. They had big problems in their lives and their families got messed up. But none of that disqualified them from being part of God's plan. It didn't stop God from loving them and looking after them. As I was preparing this, I was wondering, why did God choose to work with them? And then I realised, they're normal people with normal problems, making the same kinds of mistakes as the rest of us still make today. What they had was faith. They believed God when he said he would look after them. And they tried to do the things that God asked them to do. Yes, they got it wrong, but they kept faith and they kept trying. And that's all God asked for. Back then and still the same today. There's nothing asked of us other than to put our faith and trust in Jesus. Everything else, to some extent, you could say is a bonus. For some people, there is no time to change anything about their lives. There's a story when Jesus was being crucified on the cross. There were two thieves that were crucified with him, and one of them spoke to Jesus as the three of them were dying. And in that moment put his faith in Jesus. And Jesus said to him that today you will be with me in paradise. Jesus assured him that just have faith in me and that is enough. If we at LRCC can do anything to help you explore what that means for you, do get in touch or pop along and see us one Sunday afternoon. We're always there outside 44 Lindbergh Road. Just remember, we're here in the church because we're not good enough. God bless you, and I'll see you next week.